Hi everyone, it's Sharon. It's Thursday afternoon round about 2 o'clock. So it's time for our weekly dose of learning about all things crystal. I'm just going to wait for a few seconds to see if anybody else joins me on live, because I have just tagged a few people. So hopefully they will come on and join me shortly. In the meantime, just to tell you, you saw me pop up photos of these earlier in the week, and I'll also show you the thickness. So this is something that I've developed in collaboration with Lynn from Happy Kanga Crafts, and it's actually a tree of life, sorry, a flower of life grid. So I shall explain to you a bit more about that in a few minutes and how I'm going to use it. So let's just see if anybody else is joining me. Okay, so don't forget, if you are watching live, do drop me a comment. Hopefully Facebook will let me see them. Otherwise, if you're watching on replay, hashtag sorry I missed you. I will also pop the link as to where you can order one of these in the comments below. So just to give you a bit more information about crystal grids. So crystal grids is a way of laying out crystals according to sacred geometry, and that is because laying crystals out in grids in a uniform manner in a particular way gives that extra sort of punch to how your crystals are going to work. And it's also something that you can set up and then leave set up in your home for a length of time, depending on what it's for. Before you do this, you will have to do some preparation. So to take you through the steps, first of all, make sure that you have cleared the space you're actually doing this in. So I'm sat outside at the moment and I'm just doing this as a demo, although I'm going to go and set this one up properly afterwards for me. So that can be smudging with sage or cedar or something like that. I've been known to just go banging round and into corners and stuff with a saucepan and a wooden spoon, so to make noise and to really move the energy out. And then you can do things like waft it or sweep it out of a door. I often have windows open when I'm sort of smudging the house, because that gives room, plenty of room for the sort of more negative areas to sort of move away and things to settle. Do make sure you've sort of cleansed and smudged yourself, and the crystals you are going to use will need to have been cleansed and charged beforehand. So again, smoke by intention. Some crystals can go in water, then charge them either on something like a selenite plate or an amethyst bed, full moon, that sort of thing. So to start, you will need to and then you also need to think about what you want and what you are looking for, and you need to be quite specific with your intentions, so you know what to expect back. So you could look at things like you want to increase wealth. You could look at things, there might be some health things you want to look at, or you're very stressed. So lots of different things. So think about what you actually want to achieve with doing this, and also choose the crystals that will resonate with this. So we've talked at length about chakras and about which crystals work for which bits of the body, but there is also a certain amount of intuition in this as well to think about. So you've cleansed your space, you've cleansed yourself, you've got cleansed and charged crystals, you've got your board, you've thought about your intentions as to what you want to do with it. Now, if you go on Google, Pinterest, anywhere like that, you can find loads of ways to set out grids for different things using different crystals. So do have a look and think about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to chat through with you how I'm setting this out as I do it, and then I will tip the camera down as well, or flip the screen, because unfortunately my camera stand doesn't fold down the way I need it to. It does, which is a bit of a pain, so I need to get another one. So first of all, I'm going to start off in the center of the grid where the lines are crossing. What I'm going to put on there is, some of you have may already seen this lavender quartz, sorry, lavender fluorite. So if you can see, it's got all these pale greens, but then it's got lavender and then back to green, moving all up through it. So it's really beautiful crystal. And another name for it, and Tanya, I'm going to tag you if I can find you, because yesterday we were talking about letters for crystals for the letters in your name, and another name for this is yttrium, I think is how you pronounce this, but it's with a Y, so this is also known as yttrium fluorite because of one of the minerals that's in here. But this kind of fluorite is very good for sort of like connecting to your crown chakra, connecting to your spirit guides. So I'm going to do just a simple layout for me that I want to connect with my spirit guides. So that one I'm going to pop bang in the middle. Then a couple of other crystals that I've got that are really good for working on your crown chakra and things like that, that are a favourite of mine, are labradorite. So I've got 2 of those, so I'm just going to pop those on some intersections on the flower. So that again is thinking about working with the fluorite and the labradorite. It is all about sort of connecting to my spiritual, which will allow me to connect with my spirit guide. And then also I've got a couple of smoky quartz, because they're very gentle, they can ground you in a gentle way. So I'm also popping those in, because whilst I want to sort of be connected to my spirit guide and go off into my spiritual being, I don't want to go too far, so I'm just leaving those there to work with the labradorite, but also to gently ground me. Hi Dom, thanks for watching. If you do have any questions, do pop them in there, and hopefully Facebook will show me. So I have put those down, and next what I've got is these quartz points. And I've actually got 4 of those to lay around, and the reason I've chosen those is quartz, as we know, adds sort of a bit of rocket fuel to crystals and sort of enhances what the others are doing, but also the points, and I will lay them pointing out, actually allow energy to move out, anything negative to move away from the grid. So again, placing them at intersections, in the grid with the points pointing out, I'm going to pop those there. And then I would just sit quietly for a few minutes, you know, thinking about what my intention for this is, slowing down and just quietly meditating on it for a few minutes, to really set the intention as to what I want from this grid. And as I said, I would just spend a few minutes doing that quietly to myself, and then I would pop this in a place where it could stay for a while. Now, because this is for something I want to do fairly soon, I'm going to leave it set up just for a week or so. If you had something that you'd set up, say, for protecting your house or something like that, then you could leave that set up somewhere, you know, pretty much indefinitely, so as long as you wanted. So make sure that if it is something that's going to be staying up for a while, that it's somewhere that is safe and isn't going to get disturbed and knocked, and that the space does stay nice and clear and cleansed. So hi Holly, thanks for joining me. I am now hopefully going to be able to, if I take this off the stand and flick the camera round, which I can't find the button to do that. There it is. You should, and I'm going to stand up for this bit, be able to see my grid. So here at the centre is where I've got my fluorite points, and I would always try and choose something pretty chunky for what you want in the centre. Then here and here are the two pieces of labradorite, again for making that spiritual connection. And then here and here are two bits of rose quartz. Work quite well with the labradorite for connection, for protection, but they also ground quite gently. So although I may be able, if I'm meditating or whatever, I can sort of go off into my spiritual being, it will keep me grounded enough to come back without feeling really yuck, or that I've had to come back suddenly. And then just around the edge, pointing outwards, is where I've got the 4 quartz points. As I said, those are, let's pop that back in there. Those are to give a bit of a boost to the rest of the grid, and also with the points pointing out, they will channel sort of any negative energies out. So we swipe left and see who's got on with me. So who else is there? Looks nice where you are. Yes, it is my grid. Very pretty, isn't it? I'm just sat in my garden. This is actually my craft studio, but if you could see it at the moment, it's full of lots of supplies, but I don't do an awful lot out there at the moment. I do actually like coming out and just sitting when I can, just sitting outside to get the fresh air and stuff. Now it says I've got 3 people on with me, so do say hello if you're there as well. And have you got any questions? Anything you want me to go over again? Do you, or if you request to come on live, you can ask your questions on live. So yeah, it's a bit overcast, but it's still warm. So I think it's a case of just getting out when we can and enjoying it. The trouble is with bear with Facebook. I know it has been a bit yucky at the moment, but your comments are coming through. However, I have noticed the trouble with coming and sitting outside is it shows where my roots need doing. I do actually have hair there, but it is the grey ones that I need to go and get some colour on. I missed the start. Is there a minimum number of crystals you should use on a grid? Dominique, if I pronounced that correctly, let me know what you want to be called. There isn't actually a minimum or a maximum. A lot of it is by intuition. I've chosen the middle one and then in 4s because to me that feels quite balanced, rather than, I know things in nature come in 3s, but actually to me that would feel a bit unbalanced. You can actually do things in spirals, so there isn't actually a minimum amount of crystals you can place on. I've actually kept this one fairly simple, just the big central crystal, 4 around the edge, and then the 4 points. I have seen grids with so many crystals rammed on there that I think, oh, how can the poor things know what they're doing? So no minimum, no maximum. It's down to what feels right for you. Have you got any thoughts on a grid that you were thinking that you'd maybe like to set up yourself? I think a good one, is one that a lot of people might be interested in, is, say, if you set something up for wealth, so that actually would use lots of things like citrine. Okay, yeah, signal keeps going, not great. That could be because I'm in the garden, although I should be on the net extender. But yeah, watch back, and if you've got any questions, do drop them in the comments or do let me know. Might could be going to rain for me. What is the purpose of the grid? So what it's for, Holly, because I think you missed the beginning as well, it's actually a way to set your crystals out to give them a bit more of an oomph and a bit more power, so they can work together, and you actually leave them in a layout for a while depending on what you're using this for. So this one was for me because I'm interested in doing some work to connect with my spirit guide. Scotland, look forward to do distant Reiki. Distance Reiki, that sounds amazing. And to be honest, Scotland sounds amazing. I love Scotland, I haven't been there for years. So yes, yeah, Holly, a way of channeling them better in a sense. So it's about in the world, then in nature, things are always set out in a certain way, and you get things like the sort of big spirals like you do on things like snails and bigger things. And with the Flower of Life grid, again, it's something that was called sacred geometry, so it is about putting things in patterns to boost the energy, and like you said, to actually really channel what your crystals are doing. Oh yes, I would love to see how your distance Reiki goes. Have Reiki as part of a treatment on a monthly basis, but I haven't done or received distance Reiki in a long time, so yeah, do let me know. I would be very interested in that. Or if you ever want to come on live with me and chat about how distance Reiki works in one of my lives, then do let me know, and I'd love to book you in as a guest speaker, as it were. Holly, have you got any more questions? Do you want me to run over some of the bits at the beginning again that you need to think about when you're doing this? No? I think it's going to rain. I'm not sure if I'm going to peg my washing out on this, although it does look nice and light. I'm not convinced it's not going to rain on me. Yes, possibly after your house move. Keep me posted, and good luck with the house move. Mess the very start, I was looking at doing some recordings myself, so if I can do the first bit again. Okay, so very quickly the first bit again, and do go back and watch it on replay, and I will pop this into the guides because I think I have got a guides about grids. So what it's about doing is to prep yourself. You need to have cleansed the space you're working in, cleansed yourself, be clear on what you actually want to achieve with the grid, and make sure your crystals, and to make sure all your crystals are cleansed and charged, and then have your grid to put things on. Do it when a time when you're not going to be interrupted, and you can sort of sit and be quite quiet with it, and then pop your crystals on the intersections of flowers on the grids, talking through them, thinking through them, what they're there, and being quite intentional when you place them. So this one is I've got a big chunky one in the middle, and then I've got the sort of the ones around the outside, and then the little points as well. So yeah, so it's about sort of making sure you know what you're doing it for, that you've cleansed everything and everything is set up and ready to go, and also being clear once you've set it up, sit and meditate on it for a few minutes, and then make sure you put it somewhere where it's not going to be disturbed. So this one I can just pop on the sideboard, although I'll have to do it properly because I didn't meditate on it or anything. You can have, say you could have one in the corner of your home for protection, things like that, and they could stay there sort of long term with just the occasional move to sort of give them a quick cleanse and a charge. Or, as I said, you could be looking at something quite specific. So if you were looking at abundance, you could maybe have things like citrine in there. Goldstone would be another good one. So matching the crystals and their properties to what it is you're looking to achieve. So hopefully that's given you enough to understand where I'm coming from on it, because you missed the beginning. But yes, do go and watch it back on replay and let me know what you think. And I will also pop a photo up of this in the comments, telling you what I used and why, just to give you some ideas of what it's about. So thank you for those of you that watched me on live. For those that you that didn't, don't forget #replay, #sorry I missed you. Any questions, pop them in the comments, or if it's something that you feel is confidential, please feel free to private message me, and we can have that discussion sort of privately away from the group. Quite happy to do that as well. So I will be back next week with my live. I need to check what I'm doing, because there might be something a bit different next week that actually requires audience participation. So we'll see how that goes, but I will let you know, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.